Hi, kindergartners. Welcome to your TV classroom. Today is Monday, February 22nd. I had a great weekend. I hope you did too. Mr. Kevin, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty darn spiffy.
What zone are you in?
That means green zone.
Oh, he's in the green zone. That's fantastic. Why do you think you're in the green zone?
Well, just had a great evening last night. I worked on a problem at home and I got it resolved after a couple of tries.
Oh, that always feels good, especially when it doesn't work right the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yes. So, and you?
Let's see. I'm in the green zone. I had a great night last night with Oliver. We got a new book. It was called Where Do Speedboats Sleep at Night? And it was this book all about all different kinds of boats and where they are in the water at nighttime and how that works. And it was really fun and he loved it. Friends, how are you feeling today? What zone are you in? Are you feeling in the blue zone, in the green zone, in the yellow zone, or in the red zone? Which zone are you feeling today? Make sure to share that with someone around you, and don't forget to ask someone else how they're feeling. Let's get going with Make It Monday. Take a look. How many dots do you see? And how many more would you need to make 12? Well, there are 11 dots because there's 10 and 1. So, in order to make 12, I would need one more dot because 10 and 2 makes 12. How many dots do you see? 10. How many more make 13? 10, 11, 12, 13. 3 more dots because 10 and 3 make 13. How many dots do you see? 10. How many more make 14? 11, 12, 13, 14. How many dots did I draw? Mabel, how many? Yeah, 4. 10 and 4 makes 14. How many dots do you see? Ooh, they tried to trick you. I see 10 and 3, Mabel. Do you see 10 and 3? Okay, 10 and 3 is 13. Oh, ooh, sneaky yawn. 10 and 3 makes 13. So how many more would I need to make 15? Well, I have 13, 14, 15. How many dots did I draw? 2. 2 more makes 15 because 13 and 2 more is 15. And I have 10 and 5, which is also 15. How many more to make 15? Well, how many are there? There's 12 because there's 10 and 2. But I need it to be 10 and 5. If I have 2, how many more do I need? 3 because 2 and 3 makes 5. Now I have 15. 10 and 5 makes 15. Great job, kindergartners. Today we are going to continue to learn to add up to 5. Now let's take a look. We're going to use these finger hands to help us solve these problems. The first one we're going to solve is 1 and 2. Can you see the hands that show 1 and 2? 1 and 2. How many does it make? 3. Very good. Okay. What about 2 and 2? We're going to use 2 of these. 2 and 2 makes what? 4. Very good. What about the next one? 3 and 2. 3 and 2 makes 5. Great job. Now this one's an extra bonus one. 4 and 2. 4, 5, 6. 4 and 2 makes 6. Kiss your brains. Nice job, kindergartners. I have a question for you. What types of things can you add? I'm wondering if I could like add together types of rocks or add together fish, blue fish and yellow fish in a pond. Mr. Kevin, can you think of anything that you might add together?
Yeah, how about dogs and cats?
Yeah, you could figure out how many dogs and cats there are in a house by adding together how many dogs and how many cats they have. Great idea. What about if you have a bowl of fruit and there's some bananas and apples? Could you add it all together to find out how much fruit there was? Oh, Mabel, do you have any ideas? You could figure out how many peanuts and how many crackers there are in the cupboard. Do you like to eat peanuts and crackers? What about your pencils? Could you figure out how many pencils you have by how many are sharp and how many are dull? Yeah, there's lots of things we can add. And we answer how many in all when we're adding. So today, I'm going to show you a problem, and Mabel and Rafa are going to help us. But what I want you to do at home is I want you to use your counters and model the problem as well with your counters. If you don't have counters, you can draw a picture on your whiteboard. Mr. Kevin, could I get the whiteboard picture up, please? And I'm going to show you how to do both. So I'm going to use counters and I'm going to draw so that you can see how to do each one depending on what you have at home. So the problem is 2 plus 1. What does that mean? What is this 2 and then this symbol thing and then the 1? What does it mean? Well, it means I have a quantity of 2 in one group. Mabel's going to have 2. Can you show me 2 counters at home? Or you can show me 2 circles at home. So Mabel has 2 red bears. 2. Okay, 2 bears. So there's Mabel's bears. And I've drawn 2 circles to represent my bears. Now I'm going to draw a break apart stick. That tells me there's a new group coming. And then I'm also going to do a group of 1 because when we add, we're putting together. So Rafa is going to have 1 blue bear. Mabel has 2 red bears, plus Rafa's 1 blue bear. And I'm trying to figure out how many bears are there. So what could we do? We put 2 and 1 together. Let's count them. 1, you touch and count. 1, 2, 3. Or you could say 2, 3. Either one works. Our answer is 3. If you have 2 plus 1, you get 3. Or if you have 2 and you put it together with 1, it makes 3. How cool! Let's look at the next problem. Now there are some pictures, and we're going to use our little counters to help us figure out the apples. And we're going to pretend, I'm actually going to get rid of the bears because we're not dealing with bears. Our picture is apples, and I have some counters. And those counters are red and yellow, just like the apples. See right here? Now, if you don't have red and yellow counters at home, you can use whatever you have, but it makes it easier for you to see here. So Mabel's going to get red apples. Rafa's going to get yellow apples. Take a look at this first picture right here. This one right here. How many red apples is Mabel going to have? 2. Go ahead and put 2 on your workplace. If you don't have counters, I want you to draw 2 circles. Then a break apart stick. How many yellow apples does Rafa have? 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we have to look at those equations at the bottom and decide which equation or expression matches our picture. So what's the first number we see? 2 plus 3. I'm going to make this a plus sign because I know I'm adding. Do we see a 2 plus 3 at the bottom there? I see it. Do you see it? Okay, let's see. Bing! 2 plus 3. Okay, reset your board. Doo, 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 doo. Let's look at this next picture right here. What do you see? How many red apples does Mabel have? 1. How many yellow apples does Rafa have? 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, we can put 1 for 1 red apple, and we can put 3 because there's 1, 2, 3 yellow apples. So we're looking for the expression or equation 1 plus 3. Do you see it? I see it. See if you can see it. 1 plus 3. Are you ready? Let's see if you're right. Do, 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 do. Bing! Okay, let's do the last one. Reset. Okay, how many red apples is Mabel going to have? 3. 1, 2, 3. Plus, how many yellow apples does Rafa have? 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's put some numbers on our whiteboards to match what we built. How many? 3 plus, how many? 3. Let's see, is there a 3 plus 3 up there? I see it. Do you see it? Ding! How many apples do they have all together? How many is that? Count them. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 apples. I love it. Okay, friends. Now I want you to try one all on your own. I'm going to give you 1 minute, and then we're going to work with Rafa and Mabel to see if you got it correct. I want to know what's the equation you would write or expression, and how many apples are there altogether. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Go ahead and go. So I see Mabel gets 1 red apple. I'm going to put it together with Rafa's 4 yellow apples. I have 1 red apple put together or plus 4 yellow apples. How many apples are there? 4, 5. There are 5 apples. I love apples. Yum. Let's take a look at what your assignment's going to be today. Today you're going to do page 321, and it says, what can you add? Show 1 plus 4, and you're going to draw a picture showing what 1 plus 4 looks like with a picture, just like we did with Rafa and Mabel and our apples and our bears. Then you're going to look at the next picture, which happens to be dogs and cats, and you're going to look at the picture and match it to the equation that matches. Okay? Great. Now, today we learned to add up to 5. We acted out a problem, we built the problem, we drew the problem, and we found an answer. Great job, kindergartners. Mr. Kevin, if they want to send us a video or a picture of some adding situations, how could the kindergartners do that?
Oh, we'd love that. You can ask your adult to help you. Send them via email to tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us. You can always mail it as well. Stamp an envelope to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Now, friends, it is time for your lesson with Miss Oslin. But first, you're going to have a little break. During your break, make sure to gather your materials for your lesson. You will need your ELA packet, your learning notebook, and your buddy and a pencil. Make sure to gather those things, take a break, and be back ready to learn when Miss Oslin comes on the screen. I hope you have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.
Hello, I'm Gretchen. I'm a cellist in Northwest Sinfonietta Orchestra, and I'm a cellist out of Northwest Sinfonietta Orchestra too, in which case I'm actually mostly playing on an electric cello. I'll talk more about that maybe at another time. I'm wondering who among you play instruments and who listens to instrumental music? I hope you listen to instrumental music because it does something different to our brains. Even though I also love listening to music with words too. And I'm going to play a song that is an instrumental version of a song with words called Pure Imagination. You don't have to know it. It's from the 1971 film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's a song that I play in the band that I'm in. I'm in a band with a couple other members of Northwest Sinfonietta. Anna Doak on double bass and Brandon Vance on violin. And then we have a percussionist, Don Dietrich, who completes our band, which is called Different Drummer. You'll see in the video that will show that Don plays alternative percussion. He built a desk that he uses for all of his sounds, and it includes an old-fashioned manual typewriter and a trash can and suitcase and all kinds of things, and we all helped find some parts of that desk. And I wonder if you start looking around your home, if you might find some things that make interesting percussive sounds. At one point, looking for things, I was looking for things that could be shaken. So this is a container granola, and I found this cooling tray that made a great ring, and pots and pans are good. I did take a cooking class where the teacher said not to tap on the side of a pan because she said that was mean to the food, but I think that if it's percussive and rhythmic, I think it's okay. So, sorry to grown-ups, but it's fun to make some sounds. So, in the video that you're going to see of our band, we're playing a piece that Anna wrote called Mischief. And each of us represents a family member in this musical depiction, and the piece is a scene from family life. So you can imagine who is who and what we're doing using your imagination. I hope that you enjoy.
Hi, kindergartners. Welcome back from your break. Excellent job gathering your learning materials to be ready to go for our lesson. Go ahead and take your learning notebook, your ELA packet, your pencil, your crayons. You can put those off to the side. You can hold on to your learning buddy if they are going to help you focus. Let's remind ourselves what our job is today and every day when we come together. It's to listen, share, read, and write. And you have strong, active listening posture when, say this with me, eyes watching, ears listening, voice quiet,
voice quiet,
and if it helps you, your body still.
body still.
Sometimes, even when you have active listening posture, you might notice that your brain starts to think about something else. And if that happens, just give yourself some positive self-talk and say, focus, self, focus. We have read 2 traditional tales. You'll remember traditional tales are stories that have been around for a really long time, and they're often told orally, which means by the mouth, and they're retold. There's many different versions, and these types of fictional stories, the purpose of them is to entertain us and teach us the moral or the lesson of the story. We also know that all stories have common elements. Do you remember the story elements? You might have some muscle memory saying these out loud with the rhythm in your fingers. Let's practice doing it now. Character, setting, beginning, middle, end. All stories have characters, settings, and a beginning, middle, and end. Today we're going to revisit these 2 stories, Goldilocks and the Three Bears and the Three Billy Goats Gruff. And we're going to think about the details of these pictures, these stories, and we're going to compare them. Say compare. We're going to think about how they're similar, and we're going to think about how they're different. And we're going to track that on a graphic organizer called a Venn diagram. Say Venn diagram. A Venn diagram will help us pay really close attention and separate and organize our thinking so that we can see really clearly what is different and what is the same. So Mr. Kevin, can you show them my graphic organizer? Thank you, sir. And we have these 2 circles. This circle, we're going to write information about the character, setting, beginning, middle, end of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In this circle, we're going to write the details of the character, setting, beginning, middle, end of the Three Billy Goats Gruff. What happens in the middle is what is the same or what's similar between these 2 stories. What that means is what is in these circles is what is different. Do you see how it's overlapping? That tells me that it's the similar. And these are separate. They're different. Are we ready to go? Let's do this. Today we're learning that readers notice similarities and differences in books by comparing and contrasting 2 stories that are alike. That's what we just talked about. We're going to compare them and contrast them to think about what's similar and what's different using our Venn diagram. Here we go. Once upon a time, there were 3 Billy Goats. They lived in a valley, and the name of the 3 Billy Goats was Gruff. Once upon a time, once there was a little girl called Goldilocks. Are you already noticing something that's similar? What is it, Mr. Kevin?
They both start with once
Yeah,
upon a time or once there was. So it's kind of telling us that this is in the past.
Yes, it's giving us a little hint about the timeline of our stories. They both start with the word once. So that goes on my graphic organizer where it says both. It overlaps because it's in both stories. It's in both circles. Now, the Goldilocks and Three Bears starts with what's a little different is there was a little girl and the Three Billy Goats is once upon a time. Traditional tales will often begin with once upon a time or once there was a. And that gives us a hint, like Mr. Kevin said, that it happened a long time ago and that these stories have been around for a really long time. I even notice the text of the book, the O in the word once is really big in both books. There was very little grass in the valley, and the Billy Goats were hungry. They wanted to go up to the hillside to a fine meadow full of grass and daisies where they could eat and eat and eat and get fat. But on the way up, there was a bridge over a rushing river, and under the bridge lived a troll who was as mean as he was ugly. Okay, I notice that the Three Billy Goats have a really dangerous path to cross. And that kind of reminds me of Goldilocks going through the woods and she took the shortcut. She also has a dangerous path, not to cross, but to go on. Do you think that's something that's similar or something that's different? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy. Okay, Mabel, what's similar is that they both have a dangerous path. But in Goldilocks, it's in the forest, and the Three Billy Goats Gruff, they're crossing the bridge. So I can put in the center of my Venn diagram, what's in both stories, what's in both circles is a dangerous path. Goldilocks goes through the forest. So I'm actually going to draw some trees here. To remind myself that the setting is in the forest. The Three Billy Goats are going to cross a bridge, so I'm going to draw the bridge.
A drawbridge.
A drawbridge. Look at that. I'm drawing a bridge, a drawbridge. Now, I'm going to think back to the titles because I'm noticing something that we didn't talk about at the beginning. Think about what you hear that's the same. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, the Three Billy Goats Gruff. Think about our characters. Characters. What's the same or similar? Yeah, there's 3 bears and 3 billy goats. The number 3 is the same. That's a common element in traditional tales, is that they'll have 3 characters. So that's in both. 3. What's different? Yeah, Goldilocks and the 3 bears. So I need to draw bears. And it's 3 billy goats. So I'm going to draw billy goats over here. Okay, let's keep reading, thinking about how these traditional tales are similar or how they're different. First, the youngest Billy Goat Gruff decided to cross the bridge. Trip, trap, went the bridge. Who's that tripping over my bridge? Roared the Troll. Oh, it is only I, the tiniest Billy Goat Gruff, said the Billy Goat in his very small voice. And I'm going to the meadow to make myself fat. No, you're not, said the Troll, for I'm coming to gobble you up. Oh, please don't take me, I'm too little that I am, said the Billy Goat. Wait till the second Billy Goat Gruff comes, he's much bigger. Well, then be off with you, said the Troll. A little later, the second Billy Goat Gruff came to cross the bridge. Trip, trap, went the bridge. Who's that tripping over my bridge? Roared the Troll. Oh, it is only I, the second Billy Goat Gruff, and I'm going up to the meadow to make myself fat, said the Billy Goat, and his voice was not so small. No, you're not, said the Troll, for I'm coming to gobble you up. Oh, please don't take me. Wait a little till the third Billy Goat Gruff comes. He's much bigger. Very well, be off with you, said the Troll. Then up came the third Billy Goat Gruff. What happens? Yeah, trip, trap, went the bridge. The third Billy Goat Gruff was so heavy that the bridge creaked and groaned under him. Okay, now we talked about how there's 3 Billy Goats. What do we know about the Billy Goats? How are they different from each other? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you noticed. Mabel, I noticed there's the small Billy Goat, there's the medium Billy Goat, and then there's the large Billy Goat. Did you notice that as well? How is that similar to or different from the 3 bears? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy. Mabel, in Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, there's Baby Bear, Mama Bear, and Papa Bear. Small, medium, and large, just like the Billy Goats. Kindergartners, we can add that to our Venn diagram. Okay, both Goldilocks and the 3 Bears and the 3 Billy Goats Gruff have characters that are small, medium, and large. Say the word small. What sound do you hear at the beginning of small? That's an S, so I'm just gonna write an S. Medium, say medium. What sound do you hear at the beginning of medium? And that's the letter M. Small, medium, and large. Say large. I hear L at the beginning of large. We also have the bears have porridge bowls, chairs, and bed. That's different than the 3 Billy Goats Gruff, but I'm not gonna add that right now. I do want you to think about, how did you know when our third and largest Billy Goat Gruff, how did you know that it was going to say trip, trap, over the bridge? How did you know that? Yeah, because it did that for every Billy Goat. It's called repeating words, and that's a common element of traditional tales. Was there any of that in Goldilocks and the 3 Bears? Take some think time. Do you remember what Goldilocks kept saying? She kept saying, Don't mind if I do, and helping herself to the porridge, to the chairs, to their beds. So Goldilocks and the Three Bears also has repeating words. The words are different than what's in the Three Billy Goats Gruff, but that element is the same. So both stories have repeating words. Goldilocks says, patooey when she spits things out. And she says, don't mind if I do. And that's important to include because that gives us an idea of the character traits of Goldilocks. And then what's the repeated phrase that we hear in the Three Billy Goats Gruff? Trip, trap, trip, trap. Yeah, I'm gonna add that over here. Okay, let's keep reading, thinking about what's similar and what's different in our two traditional tales. Who's that tramping over my bridge? Roared the troll. It is I. Oh, no, I need to read that in a different voice, don't I? It is I, the big Billy Goat Gruff, said the Billy Goat, and his voice was as loud as the troll's. Now I'm coming to gobble you up, roared the troll. Well, come along, said the big Billy Goat Gruff. I've got 2 horns and 4 hard hooves. See what you can do. So up climbed that mean, ugly troll, and the big Billy Goat Gruff butted him with his horns, and he trampled him with his hard hooves. And he tossed him over the bridge and into the rushing river. Then the big Billy Goat Gruff went up the hillside to join his brothers. In the meadow, the 3 Billy Goats Gruff got so fat that they could hardly walk home again. They are probably there yet. So snip, snap, snout, this tale's told out. We noticed so many things that were similar and different in our two traditional tales. Now there's one thing that we need to add. A common element of traditional tales is that they're meant to entertain us, but they're also meant to teach us a lesson. Take some think time. What is the lesson that we're meant to learn from Goldilocks and the 3 Bears? And what's the lesson that we're meant to learn from the 3 Billy Goats Gruff? Turn and tell your learning buddy, what are the lessons that we're meant to learn? Mabel, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, the lesson we're meant to learn is to listen to the adults who care about us, who are trying to keep us safe. The 3 Billy Goats Gruff, the lesson we're meant to learn is that we're stronger when we have a team that we work with to solve our problems. Now, they're similar because they both have a lesson, so that goes in the center of our Venn diagram where it says both. But the lessons we're meant to learn are different. So I'm going to write them in the separate circles to show that it's not the same, it's different. Okay, Kindergartners, we worked really, really hard noticing, comparing and contrasting our two traditional tales, paying close attention to what's similar and what's different when we thought about our 5 story elements, which are the character, setting, beginning, middle, end. Now, your independent work today is you're going to practice gathering your independent reading books that you can sit down and read in your independent workspace where you are able to focus. And when you're doing that, I want you thinking about those 5 story elements in your books. And you're going to write about those in your learning notebook today. Write about who are the characters, setting, beginning, middle, end. Your writing is you're going to use the Venn diagram that I used today, it's in your ELA packet, to compare and contrast the characteristics of 2 of your independent reading texts. You're going to think about how are they similar, how are they different, and draw and write that information in your Venn diagram just like I did. You can send that to us here at our TV classroom. We would love to see what you are reading and how you're noticing the characteristics of your books, how they're similar and how they're different. Mr. Kevin, can you tell our kindergartners how they can send us their work?
Well, of course, just grab your adult and have them help you email it to TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us, or you can send it via blah, 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 blah. Right, do that. Or you can send it via the regular mail. TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Now, kindergartners, this is our time for our affirmation when we get to say positive things about ourselves before we go off and complete our independent work. And we did a lot of heavy thinking today, and I want you to remind yourself that your thinking is important. So say that out loud to yourself. My thinking is important. Excellent job today, kindergartners. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.